Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we want to look at Autodesk AutoCAD user interface. When you launch your AutoCAD application, the first you have is the welcome screen. And in this welcome screen, we have sections wherein you can open an existing AutoCAD drawing. And aside from that, we also have options. Apart from selecting this to click open, we have options where we can start our drawing new from the scratch. In addition to that, in this 2024 user interface, we also have options for us to look at recently worked on projects. That is, recent drawings are here. And these latest versions allow us to sort these recent drawings. We have options to click here, and then you sort by name or you sort by last open. Whether you are on the grid view or whether you are on the list view, there is room for you to sort on the ascending order or on the descending order, be it name or be it on the last open, as the case may be. There's also options for us to search if we have a specific project title or drawing title that we intend to. Let's say I want to open the hotel. So when I start searching for hotel, there will be a display of files names that have the content that I've typed here. And then when I'm comfortable with any of the choice that I want to choose, and I would simply click select the choice. Aside from that, there's also options for us here using the ellipsis, the vertical ellipsis here, for us to click on open or to read only. If we just don't want to work on the project, we want to have the read only options. There's also an option for us to remove such a drawing from the list if we don't want to keep it within the recently viewed or the recently worked on list. So in addition to that, you can as well pin any of this recent drawing to this recent drawing list. So by that, we can click on the thumb pin now, and then that will keep that drawing at that point instant. Even if we delete all and clear, that pinned drawing will still be there. Of course, by clicking on this icon, it will automatically launch the intent drawing. So let's close this and head back to our start page. Here in this section is for announcement. You receive an announcement from the Autodesk company. Of course, you must be connected online to be able to have access to those announcements. In addition to that, you also must be connected online. You might have signed up, but if you sign in, your sign-in details will appear here, your name and as well as your email address. And then there's also option here for you to send feedback to the companies regarding what you wish to have, as the case may be. Aside from that, we also have options for Autodesk projects in these current versions. There's room for you to sign in and have access to your online Autodesk project, as the case may be. There's also options for you to know what is new on this current version, and then to have online help as well as customer support. And then options is also made available here for you to access the AutoCAD mobile app and as well as the AutoCAD web app as well. So let's start a new project. So I click the new drawing icon, and there we have the Autodesk AutoCAD drawing environment. So in this environment, we have sections that make up this environment. This is called the program title bar. This hosts the name of the application as well as the document name. In this case, drawing 1 is the document name. Aside from that, we have the quick access toolbar. This play host to familiar commands that you use, or you as a user of the application can customize and add any of the commands or options that you want to on the quick access toolbar. Tools that are here are those ones that are frequently used by you, the user of the application. We have tools such as open. We have options for you to save and to save as, and as well as options for you to start a new project, as the case may be. You can also click on these expander options, and then you're able to add another of this as you may wish to. Aside from that, you can click on any of the icon here or any of the command here on the ribbons, right click it, and then when you point to it and right click, you're going to have options for you to add it to the quick access toolbar, as many as you wish to and as the case may be. Of course, you can point to the ones added and right click on them, and then as well as remove them from the quick access toolbar. We also have tabs: the home, insert, annotate, parametric, view, and so on. These tabs houses tools that are displayed on the ribbons, and the ribbons will display tools in relation to the context of the tab. Say we have insert tabs. The tools in these ribbons at this moment are different from that which we have on the home tab and that which we have on the annotation tab, as the case may be. Of course, tools that are on these tabs are groups in panels. So we have the drawing panel, such as in the case of this home tab, we have the drawing panel. Of course, when you click on the panel expander icon, this panel expander icon will reveal more tools as regards to that panel. That is to say, tools in relations to that panels. Of course, you can as well pin the extended section by clicking this. When you click, those extended section will stay while you are working. But if you unpin it, each time you click within the drawing area, this section is called the drawing area. So each time you click within the drawing area, they will disappear. So the same applies with the modifying panel and so on. Furthermore, we have the Start tab as well as the File tab. This Start tab will help you get to your welcome screen, where you can have access to your recent projects that you were working on. And then aside from that, in this File tab, we have a couple of files depending on what or how many we wish to have. We could choose to be working with two projects at the same time. You may also wish to copy a content from drawing 1 or project 1 to project 2, as the case may be. So having multiple tabs in here will help you switch through different projects, as the case may be. Aside from that, we also have what we call the menus. At default, the menu will be hidden, but you can always come here to this expander, this quick access toolbar expander, and then you click on show menu. So apart from having tabs, be reminded that we also have different menu. So we have the file menu, which will gives you file related tools, options, and command, as the case may be. What I mean by that is that commands or tools that will enable you assign specific instructions as relates to the project that you're working on, or as in relation to the file. Aside from that, we also have the editing menu that will gives you commands that allows you to format or edit your project or work as the drawing progresses. Of course, we also have the view menu, which will center more on views such as pan, zoom, and as well as orbiting. We shall take this as we move on. Some will be in this 2D tutorial and some will be on AutoCAD 3D modeling tutorial as well. Of course, we also have the insert menu, and then we also have the formats menu, as well as the tool menu, and so on. So you can always go back to that quick access toolbar icon expander, and then you hide your menu bar. Aside from that, we also have what we call the user coordinate system. You see, yes, in detail, when we get to 3D modeling, we shall explain this more. But in a concise version, this gives you a imaginary guide in relation to the line or the axis in which you are drawing, whether it's along the x-axis or along the y-axis, as the case may be. Or in other words, in a layman terms, whether it is horizontal or vertical, as the case may be. Aside from that, we also have the view cube. The view cube helps you to view elevations in the case of a 3D work, or in the case of a 2D drawing. It helps you rotate your project. We also have the navigational bar. The navigational bar helps you to navigate through your drawing area. We have commands such as the pan. Pan in this case will help you maintain your zoom range, but allows you to see the hidden parts of your screen. So if I click on pan, I click my left mouse button and hold down and drag it to the left. So that pans the drawing area to the left. Of course, it maintains the zoom range, but allows me to see the hidden part. That's notwithstanding though, you can as well as use your mouse to zoom. Even if we have the zoom extent here, we shall explain that later, but you can zoom in and zoom out by using your center mouse button. If you screw it down, that will be zooming out, and then if you screw your mouse up, roll it up, it will be zooming in, meaning it will allow you to see more closer and more bigger and bolder your drawing projects. We also have the status bar. This status bar is made up of two sections. This is what we call the status bar. It's made up of two sections. The first section is for the page layouts. Do be reminded that these current versions of AutoCAD, the 2024 versions, have introduced two new concise menu here. The first is the tab menu. So you are able to influence what happens on the tab. You can create a new tab, a new drawing tab, as well as you can also save all at once, or you close all at once, as the case may be. Aside from that, we also have the second new concise tab here, what I may call a concise tab. That is the new options for layouts, so wherein you can control what happens on the layout here. You can as well manage the page setup layout here. You can switch to either layout or model at once, and then you can also influence the positioning of these layout tabs. What I mean by that is that you can dock it above the status bar, or you can put it in line or embed it into the status bar. So if I click docked above, you see it takes it above the status bar, but if I click dock inline, you see it will embed it in within the status bar. Aside from that, we also have these sections that brings out or allows you to add your frequently used settings. Remember, in the case of quick access toolbar, you are able to add your frequently used tools or command, but in these ones they are frequently used settings. So but you can influence what happened here by a click. So for instance, I want to remove grid lines while I'm drawing. I don't want to see grid lines. By a click, I will just disable the grid lines, so I need not to go through settings and to access the grid lines change option as well. The same thing applies with the drawing scale, and then the same thing also applies with the dynamic inputs tools. Of course, you can influence what happens by customizing that status bar, just as in the case of the quick access toolbar, wherein you can customize it. So these options you can customize. For instance, you can enable or disable the dynamic inputs, and then you can also enable or disable the transparency, line weight options, and the drawing units as well. So by a click, you can influence, let's say, the dynamic inputs. If I click on that and enable it, you notice that if I click and wants to draw a line, there will be an input guide for me telling me what to do. So if I click and choose to draw a line, you notice that the drawn angle, the line angle, will be shown and indicated, so I know what to do or specify or make any necessary adjustment if I wish to. And then as well as the length from the first point, as well as there will also be a guide to specify whether it's a first point or the next point. And when I want to join the loop of that line, there will also be a guide for me that this is about to be the end. The angle will also show, as well as the distance of the drawn line. So you can right click and then you press enter. So those are one of the basic functions of these options that are here. So you can influence a setting by click rather than having to go through the setting. Notice that if I disable this dynamic input mode and then choose to draw a line, let's say I pick a line and start drawing, there's nothing specifying the length of the line I've drawn, neither the angle that I'm about to. And then if I right click, I press enter. So you notice the difference when I was drawing this while the dynamic input mode was on, and while I off the dynamic input mode, in other words disable it, and when I drew, what happened. Aside from that, let's say I choose to draw a circle here, and then as well as you also have to take notice of the fact that on these tabs, the drawing tabs, beside the drawing title, there's also an asterisk appearing telling me that haven't drawn so far, I have not saved my work. So there's a need for us to learn how to save our project at this point. So I go to the application icon and then I click on that. There's option for me to have save as, and there's option for me to have save. So I choose the save as options, and then I choose to specify a location. Let's allow it on the documents folder at this point, and then I choose to give it a document title. Let's say the project title will be class 1, and then I can choose to specify the versions as well. There are options for us to specify versions here. You must take cognizance of the fact that in some cases you save a work in a higher version. If you want to open in a lower version of AutoCAD, you may not be able to open it. So take note of that. If you are sending the works to somebody that have a lower version, of course you also have to drop it to a lower version such that the person will be able to have access to the project as well. So notice that having saved that and then the name changed to class 1, there is no asterisk signs ahead of it any longer. Now if you notice, when I move my mouse across the drawing area, there is a cross-like cursor that's called point selection cursor. That takes us to selecting in AutoCAD. Of course, this point selection cursor is used to select an object and also to identify your position in the drawing area. Now, if I click on the drawing area once and I move my mouse, I haven't clicked, I have released the mouse, I don't click and hold down, and then I move the mouse and cover my right, you notice a transparent blue as I move. That's what I've done is called the solid window selection. In other words, objects that are completely covered by that blue transparent highlighter, when I click the mouse again, that I left click the mouse again, those objects will be selected. Now, if I click my mouse here again, and this time not to the right, but I move to my left, you notice a green transparent highlighter. That's what I've done is called cross window selection, meaning that any object that crosses the path in which that highlighter is, such an object, whether fully covered or not, will be selected. But in the other first case was it must be fully covered before it is selected. But this one is, as far as it has just crossed, whether the object is fully covered or not, that object will be selected. There's also another selection called the mark key selection in some software, but in AutoCAD we call it lasso selection. So marquee selection or lasso selection, meaning if I click a point and hold down, I can define a range of objects manually that I want to select. So whether I want to use the solid window or the cross window, the solid window is what I'm doing now. That is, the fully covered will be selected. I customize the range manually, or I choose to use the cross window. That is, I click and hold down, not to the right this turn, but to the left. I can manually control what I want to select. So you see that this one is excluded. So you see that you can lasso select using the cross window selection, or you can lasso select using the solid window selection. Next, we want to learn the basic drawing tools in AutoCAD. So without wasting time, we go to our menu bar and we go to Tools. From the toolbar options, we go to AutoCAD and then we click on the drawing tool. So we dock the drawing toolbar beside us. So in our next class, we will be treating this one after another in detail. Please do make sure that you subscribe, you like, you share, and hit the notification button so you receive a new updates notification as well. Thank you so much for your time and remain abundantly blessed.